Hey everyone, this is Robert with Gin and Tonic, and I'm here with Hiram Macias, or Hiram Macias, and we're just going to talk about his career and how he got started in bonsai and whatever else we come up with. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing this. All right, so first of all, I love your logo. Did you draw it?
I freehand drew it. I had a friend of mine do it digitally, and that's how it came about. The name is my daughter's name, Olivia and Catalina.
So last time I was Googling Olicata, I couldn't find anything. I was like, it's got to be a Japanese word or something.
No, it's not. But it sounds like it. But I tried to do Kataoli, but it didn't roll off the tongue. So I did Olikata, and everybody thinks it's Japanese or whatever, but it means Olivia and Catalina, which is the first, letters of their names.
Awesome. But I know you draw, right?
Yes, I
And
sketch.
And I think that's a really important aspect of it. Like, I went to art school, and I know that, like, the kids that couldn't draw usually weren't good artists, and it probably goes with bonsai as well.
There are a few that are they're excellent bonsai artists, and they don't sketch. Now, using the words of Ed Trout, I think it's your Ed Trout and Alan Carver from Jupiter Bonsai. He would always say that when you could do the sketch and the tree, you have the overall a full artist when it comes to the bonsai.
I like sketching because it kind of gives you a roadmap to, where you think the tree will go.
Definitely, and it's easier to get the tree you want out of sketching than you do in real life.
Yeah, that's
because if you don't get the branching, and that's how I started back sketching, because originally I wanted to be an architect, and I went to school. I love drawing. Things happened in my life that took another turn. So when I got back into bonsai, and I would bring a lot of trees from Puerto Rico, there will be just the trunk. There will be no foliage, no branches, and that's where I started sketching again, trying to get almost like a blueprint of what the future of the tree should look like. And I have like 4 books that I have of sketching.
Wow, I'd like to see those sometime.
Sure.
All right, so let's go back to the beginning. How did you start bonsai?
I used to go to Fairchild and see the bonsai show. And at that time, that's where they would do it. And I'm a person, I need to be creative. So I've always liked gardening, thanks to my parents. So it piqued my interest. Now I'm also mechanically inclined, so I do, woodworking. I'm an electrician by trade. So a lot of those things I could incorporate into bonsai. Like I use my lineman pliers, when I need to, cut wire or I got to bend something. So I use those things. Then the carving comes, when it comes to the woodworking. So I started in 2000. Unfortunately, I had to leave it. And then my wife, we got pregnant, and we had our 2 girls, one after another. So that took a back seat, and then I started again. And if you see those trees, they were all crucifixes. I look at pictures now, and I'm like, oh my God, how did I do this? But, it's part of, the course of your journey as a bonsai artist and developing your skills. The first time I went to a club, fortunately or unfortunately, Toby Diaz was doing the wiring. And when I saw him, it was a big pomegranate, old, and he just did the first branch. And I'm like, I left there like, I'm never going to be able to do that. But you learn the skills, and again, the more you practice it, the better you get at it.
Did you start by going to a class?
No, I started going, I went to the club and just looked. And Toby was doing a demo that day. That's how it all started. But I used to buy trees from a guy from his house over there in Homestead, and he told me, he goes, get in a club, you'll start learning more, And that's how because the clubs are great for novice and for beginners. Obviously, if you do stay with it, you're going to develop more skills and outgrow the club. And then you become even a teacher for that club sometimes, like it's happened with me.
So Toby was the first person that you saw that actually kind of blew your mind?
Yeah, his wiring skills were, I was like, I'm never going to amount to that perfection that he does. and it's not perfection, but he does it so well. Because to me, wiring, a lot of people are scared of it. To me, wiring, the problem with the wiring for me is the way of the wiring, because you got to think 3 or 4 steps ahead, because you wire one branch, but if you got to bring another wire to finish that branch, you got to use the same direction that you're using with that first wire.
Like so they don't cross.
So they don't cross. I personally, I don't have a problem crossing, especially when I'm doing it in my yard, because what I'm trying to obtain is the design of the tree I'm doing. So I'm not going to a show with a cross wire or anything like that. I don't show my trees wired, but a lot of people frown upon it.
You've won some awards.
Yes, 23.
23 awards?
Yes.
Jeez. Do you have like a whole a room with trophies?
No, they're in a box because my wife thinks they're dust collectors.
Oh. What was the first award you won? Do you remember?
Literati.
What was the contest?
It was it was best literati, and the award said Joe Samuels because that was his favorite. Joe Samuels is one of the old pioneers. He's the reason we have willow leaves. He's the one who brought it.
Oh wow.
So I had done a little Brazilian, very minimalistic. It took me 5 minutes to do it. 2 years. That was my second year of doing bonsai, and I put it in the show, and I won best literati.
After 2 years.
Yeah, and I won. Yeah, I won it 3 or 4 times consecutively, the literati, because that's my. To me, it's the most dynamic, the most simplest, but the most complicated of them all, because you have to keep in mind that you got to share the balance of the tree with the health of the tree, and that is a very hard thing to do.
Those literati always remind me of like the Asian ink paint,
Calligraphy?
gestural, yeah.
Yeah.
Sumi, is that what it's called?
Right.
Yeah.
And people say calligraphy also, but I mean literati is the bonsai artists in the old 1800s from China they were tired of all the rules, the informals, so they started looking into the mountains, and they would see these long, lanky, very subtle curves with just minimalistic foliage, and the scholars love that, and there's not so many rules, and that's how it evolved. And now I find a literati wherever I want to, anywhere, and they're beautiful. But like I said, the balance of keeping that minimalistic foliage with the health of the tree is the real challenge when it comes to literati, in my opinion.
I think one of the most beautiful bonsai trees I've ever seen was your tree. I didn't know you at the time, but it was at the BSF convention in Orlando, and it was literati, and it had some gin work on it, and it was stunning. I think it had shari too, right?
Which one?
I don't know,
I don't
but I
remember the species because
it's maybe like 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, it was my palm cypress. I did a beautiful calligraphy gin, and it had a shari.
Yeah.
And that was beautiful.
Yeah, it was a stunning tree. How's that tree now?
It's not with me.
Oh.
I sold it, and that was my first tree I collected.
Oh, that was from the wild?
Yes.
I'm starting to, like, every time I drive around and I park in a strip mall, you see those, they have like ficuses or junipers there as landscaping, and I'm always like tempted to have a show. Maybe I should edit this part out.
Landscapers are a blessing to bonsai because they topiary, they hedge all these hedges, and the trunks become, the movement become, everything is there. It's just got to dig it out without getting in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, do you have a favorite species you work with?
Yes. I would say the dwarf black olive, the Busita spinosa, is one of my favorites.
Why is that?
It has everything. 2 trees that have everything. It's the Busita spinosa, dwarf one. There is a micro leaf one, which the internodes are even, tighter. Those are very rare. There may be 10 or 15 in existence. I have 2 of them. And then the second one to me is the Jamaican ebony. Reason being is you have a beautiful bark, corky bark, small leaves, flowers, yellow flowers. They smell amazing. And the Busita is the lateral movement, natural lateral movement of the branches. So it makes it very susceptible for great bonsai. It's one of my favorites. Those two are, I would say, the top favorites.
All right, so who have been your biggest influences and who are your heroes? It doesn't even have to be in the bonsai.
My biggest influence in bonsai has been Ed Trout.
Cool.
Toby Diaz became my mentor, and not only just in bonsai, just in life. He's been a great mentor. I've learned a lot with him. But Ed has brought a lot of inspiration every time I've seen him do a demo. He's one of the few that can do a demo and you leave there inspired. And what I love about them, these two individuals, is that they give all their knowledge and their experience freely, and which is beautiful because one day they will pass. And why would you take that with you when you could teach other people?
So they're actually bonsai artists that keep their secrets. They don't want to.
I've come across a few that they'll hold it real close to the chest.
Oh, interesting. I've found since I got involved in bonsai that it's a very open environment of people, and I don't find a lot of ego because my art background it's all ego. But
one of my first teacher, Carlos Consuegra, he taught me some lessons, how to kill a dwarf busita. He taught me that one, but he taught me the best one. He goes, "This is an art. There's no right or wrong." And the day you figure that out and you let that sink in, you won't judge a person that likes, for example, informal. That's what the person likes. Because like Ed Trout says, always taught me, when you go out to your garden and that brings joy to your soul, that's the whole key about bonsai. It's fulfilling that soul of yours that makes you happy and gives you a smile when you go out to your garden.
That's beautiful.
Well,
Wow.
That's what he taught me.
That came out of Ed's mouth.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right. Last question.
I cannot take credit for that.
Last question. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Hopefully alive.
Yeah. You're going to be 60 soon, right?
In 2 weeks.
Not that I'm like
in
thinking.
2 weeks, I'll be 60. I've been doing this for 20 years. I wish I would have started when I was in my 20s.
Yeah, me too, right?
Yeah, because it's a beautiful art. You will come across not too nice people, but most of the part, you will come out with beautiful people that enrich your life. And that's what the whole key about this is to escape reality, escape work, bills. Is for you, for that moment that you're doing your tree, working on your tree, repotting it, wiring, whatever you're doing to it, that's what your mind is fixed at, and that in itself is therapy.
And he sticks the landing. Boom.
Yep.
I've always been a big admirer. You have a great eye. You have the ability, you spot a tree from across the room and you immediately know what branch needs to be altered and stuff. And
that I thank Toby, because Toby was the one who taught me taper. And he's the one who told me, he goes, the day you see the line and you learn taper, everything is easy to cut off. And it happened in my house. My daughter was next to him, and I saw it. It was a Nerifolia, a willow leaf ficus. And I saw it, and ever since then, it's funny because it's an omen, because you want to do, every tree could become a bonsai when you see the line. But it's a blessing because you make great, beautiful things out of nothing.
oh, never thought of it that way. That's cool.
So, everything has its pros and cons.
I think this is the first interview I've ever done where I really didn't even have to talk. So this is perfect.
There's a lot we could do another interview and talk about other subject matters when it comes to bonsai,
sure.
because there's a lot to be said.
All right.
So,
Maybe we'll do a series.
but I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.